Spirit said that they tried to create a smear campaign because they wanted you to be a prisoner of shame. You see, many people don't understand that shame, it was embedded within us way back since Adam and Eve. Or I'll say, since they started telling us the story about Adam and Eve, the lies, because the story was completely misconstrued. But it all started with that one little verse about them being naked and them being ashamed. Number one, why would you be ashamed to be naked in front of the same God that created you? Spirit said there's no reason for you to be ashamed of who you are. There's no reason for you to be ashamed of your body. There's no reason for you to be ashamed of your personality. I'm hearing your sexual preference. You see, a lot of people, they want to keep you in this box of shame. It's giving walk of shame. They want your entire life to be this walk of shame. And now I'm seeing poverty. So this is a wound that was passed down from many of your ancestors based on their social class. They were ashamed of going to school with those shoes on. They were ashamed of not having the same name brand clothes that the other children had. They were ashamed of their skin color. They were ashamed of the jobs that their parents were working in order to put food on the table. They were ashamed of who they were. And so this energy of shame, it has been perpetuated through many different stories. Now Spirit is having me highlight your past in regards to sexual partners. Maybe you chose partners that were beneath you. Maybe you made mistakes in your childhood that you weren't proud of. Number one, Spirit is saying you were a child. So forgive yourself and free your inner child. They made a mistake. You don't need to keep spanking them every time that you judge yourself for making mistakes when you didn't know better. 11:01 on the clock. Spirit said we live in a world that wants you to be ashamed of everything. We live in a world that wants you to be ashamed of your body, to be ashamed of your own personal preferences. They want everyone to be alike, to think alike. And so anyone who goes against the grain is a threat to their structure, to their way of living, to their small way of thinking. For some reason, I'm seeing black and white pictures. So the 1940s is significant. It's funny because I was on YouTube this morning and there was this clip that came up. I don't know what movie it was, but it was definitely during the time of segregation. And there was this black man. He was giving this Caucasian woman a ride and they had car trouble. And so they were stopped on the side of the road. And then this car full of Caucasian guys pulled up and you know the rest. They end up beating him up and all kind of other stuff. So it's giving that these are ancestral wounds. A lot of these wounds you might not even understand, but they're not yours is what I'm hearing. They were passed on through your ancestry. I'm seeing slavery. I'm seeing the women taken advantage of. I'm seeing people being sold in slavery. Standing up naked. Now I'm seeing the football league. There was just a lot of different wounds that came from your ancestors that were passed on generationally. And you're here to break that curse. You're here to let go of shame, to break free from those shackles by being yourself, by not being afraid to ruffle some feathers. Spirit said by not being afraid to be yourself. And I'm hearing conservative. So you might have been raised around very conservative people. I'm seeing a Christian household. So you went to church, you were taught that sex is bad, fornication, I'm hearing. So you were really taught to demonize your sexual energy. And it's so funny because I actually picked up the carnelian crystal. I'm not playing, you guys. I always have it with me. But I actually picked up the carnelian crystal, which is healing for the sacral. And it's so funny because it's in the shape of a heart, which is beautiful. But this carnelian is going to help you with abuse. Actually, I want to read you something from my chakra book that I came across, which was very intriguing. Carnelian is very beneficial. So it says in here that carnelian is actually good for people who are overcoming abuse or healing from abuse. It says many people carry abuse as a burden that causes pain throughout their lives. Regardless of who has abused you, when they abused you or the type of abuse, whether emotional, mental, physical, sexual, I'm going to add spiritual, to truly live an empowered life, you must work on releasing the pain you carry so you can move forward in strength. So, your mantra as you hold the carnelian crystal is I release myself from any harm I have sustained and move forward with self compassion. So, self compassion is a big theme that's been coming up. Rose quartz will also be really good for you. So, I've also been utilizing my rose quartz crystal as well. But in regards to carnelian, it says the results of abuse often settle in your sacral or second chakra, which is the center of personal power. So all of this is connecting to the message. This is especially true of physical and or sexual abuse. Carnelian, which is orange, is therefore an effective second chakra stone. Sitting or lying comfortably, hold a piece of carnelian in your receiving non dominant hand. Close your eyes and visualize the pain from your abuse as a dark mass in your second chakra. Visualize the dark mass exiting from where you are touching the ground, feet, bottom, back, depending on whether you are sitting or laying, and draining into the earth. So this is going to be really good to do outside. You'll actually benefit from it more by putting your feet in the grass. The earth will neutralize and rebalance the energy. So you just need to picture that energy leaving out of your body and going into Mother Earth. She is here to support you. I have 11% on my phone. I also saw 11:01 earlier on the clock. So 111, 11:11 is also, I'm seeing in my third eye. So right now, using carnelian, I'm hearing your higher self is actually encouraging you. And it's funny because I see this book over here sticking out and it's orange. So that also represents your sacral. And I know exactly which book that is, so I'm going to pull it out because it also ties into the message. I'm not sure if you can see it or not. The Subtle Art of Not Giving an F. Period. Message. And it's a great book, by the way. If you've never read it, I actually have to finish it because I have so many books. But it's a really good book. And this guy, he gives you a lot of good tips in regards to not needing validation from other people, in regards to not giving an F. It's giving surrender. Because when we talk about not giving an F, that can also apply to circumstances. Sometimes you have to just say, I know that this is going on in my life, but you know what? I don't give an F. It's cool because worrying is not going to help. Now, Spirit wants me to speak on the channel that I received the other day, which is in regards to us becoming rainbow bridges. So this is the reason that Spirit is trying to help you clear out this wound of shame, this wound of guilt. Spirit said you have no reason to be ashamed and you have no reason to hold on to guilt. Everyone makes mistakes. Everyone makes mistakes. I want you to start telling yourself, I'm doing the best that I can with what I have. 13% on my phone. But before I get into the download in regards to us becoming the Rainbow Bridges, I want to talk about a dream I had last night, which was very interesting. I actually received a double download from this dream. But the first download I got, so let me actually explain what the dream was about. It was very weird. So I had a dream and it was very interesting. It's a little choppy, but in the dream, basically what happened is there was this guy, and this guy, he disrespected me in a way, and he tried to shame me. And in the dream, I ended up getting like, I don't want to say upset, but I was just like, that was weird. You know what I'm saying? And so what ended up happening is there was like this energy of him trying to shame me. Mind you, I don't even know who this guy was. Okay? I don't know who the guy was. But there was definitely a heavy energy of shame. There was also a part in the dream where I was with my family. Mind you, I don't talk to my family. So that was just an indication that they're working with these other energies. Okay? Understand that karmic energies, they all communicate in the spirit. So my family, there was this other part where we were in a store and they tried to shame me in the store. It was something that they did, and they were looking for some type of, it was interesting because they were looking for some type of box to contain money. It was giving a safe, but they were looking for some type of special box. So there was definitely something in regards to money. So I'm getting that they were trying to block me from my money. Now, there was also another part where Megan the Stallion was in the dream and Nicki Minaj was in the dream. And it was giving like everybody was just teaming up against me in this dream. They were all doing things to try to make me feel bad, to try to make me feel ashamed. So when I woke up, Spirit said this was a humiliation ritual. So there's definitely somebody, I'm hearing snake in the grass. So Spirit is saying, just take heed. There's somebody who is going to try to do a humiliation spell, or they've already been doing humiliation spells. So it's very important right now that you accept yourself unconditionally. This is what healing your sacral chakra is all about. Accepting yourself unconditionally. Accepting that your sexual energy is a part of your creative energy. How do you think you got here? How do you think that we were created? How do you think that the world was created? Through that same sacral creative energy. It's not just sexual energy. It's creative energy. Life is created from sex. It is very important for you to be in touch with that energy. And that is also, I'm hearing, connected to your inner child. I'm hearing that many people might not understand the correlation between the two, but your sacral chakra energy, your sexual energy, and your inner child are all one. They're all very connected because it's coming from an energy of pleasure, of joy. And you get what when you're having sex? Pleasure, joy. So you need to be in that energy in order to create. And now I'm thinking of the scripture in the Bible where it talks about come as little children. Spirit is saying this is talking about your inner child energy. Not necessarily a child, but that childlike energy. This is when you're closest to your true authentic self, because God doesn't create from lack. God creates from abundance, an abundance of joy and play and passion. It's giving, I just want to do this today, so I'm just going to do it. And I don't really care what anybody else has to say about it. You're just creating from pure authenticity, from pure bliss. Your sacral chakra is connected to the energy of bliss. So it's okay for you to feel good, is what Spirit is saying. You don't have to feel like, I'm hearing, a sinner just because you desire somebody. There's a difference between lust, and I'm hearing there's nothing wrong with lust. Lust is how children are born. And so is passion. Now, Spirit is saying it's another thing when you just can't control your freaking self, okay? So yes, have self-control, but there's nothing shameful about you desiring physical touch from another human being. I'm hearing that there's also no need for you to be ashamed of your personal preferences, your sexual preferences. Do what you do. Spirit wants to express itself through all of us differently, individually. So there's no reason for you to be ashamed of liking what you like. Spirit said, it's okay if you're a little freak. It ain't never hurt nobody. In fact, it might help a lot of y'all out to be a little more freaky. You're too damn conservative in the bedroom. And honestly, that's your business. What you do in the bedroom is between you and that person. And I'm literally seeing 77 degrees with 71% humidity. So 777 is significant. And I have 7% on my phone. So Spirit wants me to touch on money wounds because this is also connected to shame. Spirit wants me to kind of share my own experience. So I did go through a lot of experiences where I was practically homeless, where I really didn't have enough money in my bank, even sometimes while I was working. And it caused me to build up this shame because there were times where I had to ask people for help. And, you know, people can act funny sometimes. They try to like throw it in your face. And so that would happen, especially when it came to family. And so it created like these wounds around asking for help. It created these wounds around poverty. But Spirit is saying that you are divine royalty no matter how much money you have in your bank account. I'm seeing the color purple. Interesting. Now it's making me think about the movie. So when it comes to your financial status, that does not dictate your value. Okay? Abundance does not reside within how much money that you have. You are abundant no matter what you drive, no matter what you're wearing, no matter how much money you have in your bank account. Once you realize that, it's going to help you get rid of that shame surrounding money wounds, surrounding poverty, and to free yourself and your ancestors from that. If people want to judge you based on how much money you have, based on the clothes you're wearing, based on your living circumstances, let them. But don't you judge you. Because Spirit said these snakes in the grass that we're dealing with, they're very vain, superficial people. Their value is based on how much money they have, based on how much clout they receive. So they live for other people's validation. Spirit said that for most of us, these seeds of doubt were planted in childhood, in elementary school. I'm seeing middle and high school. You were probably the kid who couldn't afford the new Jordans, who couldn't afford all of the name brand clothes. So unfortunately, I'm channeling Mean Girls. There were a lot of kids that would pick on you, that would bully you, that would look down on you because you were different, because you might have not been able to afford to do the things that they did or to wear the things that they did. A Spirit is saying that came from a very superficial, egotistical mindset. Many of these children were raised in households where they had an example of that through their parents. They valued material things more than they valued treating people well or just being a good person in general. Spirit says, so what if they talk? Let them keep talking, because they're going to be crying when you riding around here in your Bentley and your Rolls Royce, I'm hearing, and your Cadillac. I don't know. Maybe some of y'all like Cadillac. I'm seeing some gold rims. You know, it is what it is. Do what you do. If that's luxury living to you, baby, be ghetto fabulous. But Spirit said they're going to be the ones crying, because God always gets the last laugh. It's giving Don Tolliver last laugh. So Spirit said, don't you base your value on those things. You are spiritual royalty. And this leads me to my next download in regards to you being the rainbow bridge. The reason that you had to go through all of these things to purge and to cleanse all of these dense energies, all of these limiting beliefs, is because Spirit said that you are a bridge between the physical and the spiritual world. God wants to use you. And a FedEx truck just rolled by, speeding by. So your blessings are speeding in. But God wants to use you as a channel for higher frequencies, for higher vibrations. So it's important that you remain neutral, that you do not allow yourself to be affected. And Spirit is saying that doesn't matter, because you don't have to be perfect in order to be a channel. You just need to accept yourself unconditionally. God can use anybody. So know that the collective I'm speaking to, you are going to be a channel for divine energy. You're going to be used to bring in that good energy, because the world needs it, is what I'm hearing. Rainbows may be significant to you, or you might just like really bright colors. You might be a really colorful person. I'm hearing that you have a very colorful personality. So people love to be around you. People love to be in your energy. Spirit says even complete strangers just like to be around you for no reason. I'm seeing children and animals, insects. They just come around you. And it's so funny because I was outside the other day and I was getting ready to record a message, or I was in the middle of recording a message, and literally this bee just flew right around my face. And there was a dragonfly that literally came right towards my face. It was giving, hey, what's up, fam? Like they was trying to come and say, hey, but you know, when it comes to bees and certain animals, I'm still getting used to that. Like I've had bees come and literally sit on my lap while I'm meditating. So animals are going to be attracted to you. So get used to that. I even had some dogs that kept trying to come up to me yesterday. And Spirit channeled a message to me that even the dogs, even the animals are going to support you in this next season. So you have universal support. And there's one other thing that Spirit wanted me to enlighten you on. When we talk about God, Spirit said that word is very limiting because it makes you think of one source of energy. Spirit said that you are supported by the universe. That means you're supported by the angels, the ancestors, the fairies, the dragons, the mermaids, all of them. So when people say God, they automatically think of just one. But all of these things combined are still the one. They're still God. But Spirit wants you to expand your mind and understand that you are protected by so many divine forces. So there's no reason for you to be afraid. You got gods and goddesses in your pocket. You got angels in your pocket. If there's something that you need, I'm hearing, just ask for it. It's giving, ask and you shall receive. Closed mouths don't get fed. You are not a burden. You are not a burden to Mother Gaia. Allow her to assist you with grounding this energy. Go outside and ask her to cleanse your energy. Ask her to ground your energy. Because you are supported. You are supported. And it's very important that you understand this, because this ties into the whole message about shame. You being ashamed to ask for help. You are supported. So let go of the shame. Walk around with your head held high. I don't care what your situation or circumstances look like, because it's not going to be that way forever. Money can change. You won't. Your housing situation can change. You don't. So continue being the person that you are, the loving, beautiful soul, and you will be rewarded for that. Oh my gosh, you guys, I just had to add this to the message. I just walked to the store real quick on my lunch break, and I forgot that my lunch break switched from an hour to 30 minutes. So I'm like all the way down the street, and I realized it. I'm like, oh my God, I only have like 15 minutes to get back. and the walk is about 10 to 15 minutes. So I start pacing, I start speed walking, and then I'm getting closer. I see the time running out, so I'm like, I gotta jog. Tell me why the birds was rooting me on. There were birds coming out of nowhere, and they were all like, it's like I could hear them rooting for me, like, go, go. I felt like I was in a track meet, and the birds was in the stands. It is so funny. Like lovebirds, bluebirds, hawks, they all started coming out of the woodworks and just chirping for no reason. And that never happens. So once again, you will be supported even by the animals. I also saw a butterfly, and I got the channel that you are no longer in a cocoon, baby. You are now a butterfly. It's time to spread your wings and fly. Nothing can hold you back.